Welcome to the Remote Learning Committee. My name is Brian, and today we're going to be making our first assignment in Google Classroom. If you haven't watched our video about making your first announcement in Google Classroom, we encourage you to watch that first. When we create an assignment, we're going to first head to the Classwork tab at the top of the screen. Select Create, and then select Assignment. For this example, we're going to title our assignment Mozart Lesson. You don't need to be too creative when giving your assignments a title, as long titles will get cut off by Google anyway. The Remote Learning Committee encourages assignments to be self-explanatory as possible, so we're only going to remind students to select Turn In when they are complete. The Remote Learning Committee recommends making all of your assignments in Google Slides. Google Slides can integrate text, pictures, videos, digital manipulatives, and answer boxes, so we think it's the best to just start with Google Slides and stay with it. So we're going to go here to Create and Slides. This will create a new Google Slides in a new tab at the top of your browser. Don't close out the tab titled Classwork. We'll need that again in a few minutes. We should first give this a title. In the upper left-hand corner, click where it says Untitled Presentation and give it an appropriate name. I'm going to call mine Mozart Lesson. The first thing you'll notice is that our slides don't look like a piece of paper. If you want them to resemble paper, you can use File, Page Setup, Custom, and set it to 8.5 by 11, and select Apply. Once the page is set up the way we want it, let's add some content. The first thing I want to do is a cover page. I'll change the title text box to say Mozart. I'll use the subtitle box to remind students to complete all 4 pages. Next, I'll add a picture. By going to Insert, Image, Search the Web, I can bring up an image of Mozart that I like. I click on the image I want and select Insert at the bottom of the page. And now I'm free to resize and move around the image until it's just the way I want it. Next, I'm going to make a content section. I think the title page looks good, so I'm going to insert a new slide. I'll go back to Insert, but this time select New Slide. To introduce my students to Mozart, I'll add a video. I've already identified a YouTube video that is very good. It was called Mozart for Children, Biography for Kids by Free School. I'll go to Insert, Video, and search for the video I want. You'll notice I need to click on the text box to type my search terms. When the results come in, I can select the video I want and press Select. I'm now free to resize and move the video the way I want it. I'll also add instructions in the title box. I don't want additional text, so I'll select this text box by clicking near the edge and then pressing Delete on my keyboard. You'll notice if I click in the middle of the text box, the Delete key would only remove any characters that I had typed. When I click near the edge of the text box, Google knows I'm asking it to delete the entire text box. On the next page, Insert, New Slide, I'm going to have a check for understanding. You may be confused at this point that I haven't added a place for students to enter their names. Because of how Google Classroom works, I will be able to identify their work without a name. However, let's have them add their name to stay in good practice. We'll delete all of the things in the slide already by clicking near the edge and pressing Delete. Then we'll use this tool to add a new text box. I'm going to click and hold the mouse to draw my text box. In it, I'll ask for their name. I'll click away from this text box to clear my selections, and next to it I'll make another text box, again clicking and holding to define the size of the box. Since this is just asking for students' names, I'll make the answer box relatively small. For any place students are expected to interact, the Remote Learning Committee recommends setting the text box to have a solid 2-point border and a fill color of light red 2. The border is done using the Border Weight tool. We'll set it to 2 points. You'll notice if I click away from the text box to show you the border, you'll notice that my format options have disappeared. I'll need to click back on the text box to bring them back. To set the fill color to light red 2, I will click on the tipped paint bucket fill color tool and select light red 2. Let's make another question now. We will make an open-ended question asking students what they learned in the video. I'm going to click away from the text box to clear out our settings and make a new text box. We'll define the size and type our question. What did you learn from the video? I'll then click away from the text box and make a new text box large enough to hold an open-ended question answer. Because I expect students to type their answers in this area, I'll set the border to 2 point and the fill color to light red 2. I want to add one more question that highlights the advantage of using Google Slides for assignments. I'm going to create a little interactive section using digital manipulatives. I'll create a new slide for this using Insert, New Slide. I'll use the title text box to ask students to place Mozart with the instrument he learned as a child. Then, I'll delete the text box I don't want. However, because I expect students to interact on this page, I am going to enter a new text box and have it occupy most of the page. As always, I will set the border to 2 point and the fill color to light red 2 wherever students are expected to interact. Then we'll insert images, one of Mozart, which I will resize and place where I want it. Then we'll add 3 instrument images. If you watched the video, you'll know Mozart learned the violin as a child. So we'll start with an image of a violin. Insert, Image, search the web, Violin. Select the image we want and press Insert. Then we'll use the handles to resize and move the image where we want it to be. We'll also insert 2 other instruments using the same procedure, the clarinet and the flute. Once all of our images are inserted, this page is ready for our students. If you'd like to see how it works from a student's perspective, please watch our video of that name. There are many, many more things possible in Google Slides, and we'll cover some of them in our video, Google Slides for Experienced Users, which we encourage you to check out. For now, let's assign this one to our students. Let's return to our Classwork tab at the top of our screen. We can see our new Google Slides is attached to the assignment here at the bottom. It still has Untitled Presentation, but the title will be updated when we assign it. The Remote Learning Committee encourages you to always use Make a Copy for each student. This will make a separate copy for every student to fill out and return. We do have a video called Making Group Work in Google Classroom if you'd like more than one student to work on a project. If you're interested, please check that out. Next, we need to set our options. This assignment should be for all students in our class. You should also set the appropriate point value for your assignment. You can set your due date to whatever is appropriate. The Remote Learning Committee encourages you to never set a due time due to the different experiences families are having during remote learning. The Remote Learning Committee always recommends setting your topic to the due date to make it easy for students to easily check their daily work using the format day of the week, followed by the numerical date. If you'd like to use a rubric for grading purposes or originality reports, we talk about those in Grading in Google Classroom for Experienced Users. With that, we can assign this now or schedule it to be assigned in the future. If you want to save your work on the Google slide to come back to later, you can always save draft. Drafts are visible only to you in the classwork section of your classroom, and you can easily find them to get back to work on them. I'm going to assign this now so my students will see this show up in their classwork immediately. Now that you're started making your own assignments, we have a video titled Lesson Planning for Remote Learning, which we encourage you to watch. It talks about how to create a wide variety of experiences for your students, and also some useful tips and tricks for successful remote learning lessons. Congratulations, you're well on your way to successful remote teaching. The next video in your journey to remote teaching should be using Meet in Google Classroom. Remember, remote learning is a collaboration between teachers, students, schools, and families. The Remote Learning Committee is honored you decided to invite us into your classroom's family. We hope to see you in another video real soon.